For staying tuned. There's still the conversation here on Lagos Television. Time is fast spent, but we'll make good use of the little time that we do have left. We do have a guest joining us in the studio this morning, and of course he is the founder and CEO, Think Startup Beyond Borders Incorporated, and today we'll be sharing in his knowledge and experience as a public and social commentator. We're glad to have you join us this morning, Dr. Ayodeji Abdurauf. Thank you for being here on the program.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ajibola. This morning we're looking at dealing with distrust in politics. Ajibola and I already, gave our own perception of what this is all about. But for you, is there a link between trust, distrust, and politics?
Sure, but first, let me just pick up the issue of distrust in politics. Politics entails two major things: the performance of the government and then the government process.
Okay.
When the performance of the government is not measurable and is not as expected by the public, then distrust starts setting in. Then when the process of the government, you want to take decisions, you want to make certain policy, you're not doing proper consultations in your decision-making process, then this distrust comes in.
Okay.
Those are the two critical levels of the issue of distrust in public service.
Okay.
Like the first one that I mentioned, that is the issue of government performance. If a government decide now that they want to do certain thing, and people is expecting that it's going to materialize and become reality, and they could also benefit from it, and suddenly the thing turns around that it's not it again, people feel so bad. Look at the issue of fuel subsidy. For over the years, every government comes in and tells us they're removing subsidy. So when this government came to power, it's so difficult for anybody to believe removing subsidy is going to do any miracle. But eventually, we start seeing the effect. So the mistrusting comes in when there's dichotomies in policy formulation and what the people is expecting.
Right.
Then government process in making decision. The government process in making decision is so critical. If the government wants to take decisions like the first subsidy, there was a kind of distrust in that, because when the president came in without consultation, without getting across the people, he just mentioned, people felt the first light, and I think he must have reason for taking such decision because of what has been happening in the past. People have been failing, and he wanted to take that bold step. But we can see the effect today.
Okay.
People start trusting. Things never go up in Nigeria and start coming down. Yes, the fuel has gone up to 1,000 plus. It's coming down. It's going to go up. So that trust will start building it. But in politics, there's internal democracy on its own, and there is the one that related to the public. Even within the political party, there's always sometimes distrust.
Even within
political party itself. And that's why we see what is happening in the recent times. El-Rufai is a staunch supporter of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and suddenly you start seeing throwing some tantrums to the president. And he started it long ago when he meets the president, when he meets the ministerialist. And people are wondering what could have caused that dichotomy. Is the kind of mistrust in politics. But I'm scared because mistrust is not good for progressive element and for proper internal democracy. Immediately mistrust setting into proper, then we as the public, we're going to face the music.
Okay.
Because what we start seeing, we saw it during the Jonathan period when the Save Nigeria was set up to start castigating the government. And eventually the Save Nigeria comes to eventually lead to all this APC thing we are forming today, when we have people protesting in Ojota and every location. That's the kind of thing mistrust brings in politics. So, and that will affect the government.
Right.
If you allow such thing to continue to breed and continue to grow, it's going to affect the government.
Okay. Okay. What I've come to realize over the years is the fact that in Nigerian politics, except if I'm wrong, 2 plus 2 can be 5. 2 plus 2 can be 10. And even within the political party, like you rightly said, there is this issue of trust on the part of the leadership of the party and the candidates of the party. And what I would like to know now is what role can we play as electorate in ensuring that even if these people are not trustworthy, we make demands of them to keep to their promise that they made before they get to the office?
This is the only country that I see democracy is running without a barometer to mention that democracy. And it's because the issue of activism, civil liberty, authority, all have gone underground. And it's because some of them decide to play the game.
We have compromised.
Yeah, they've compromised. They decide to play the game because if you want to be the monitor, you want to be the one watching the democracy, the way it's growing, the ways they are performing. Like those things, those two parameters that I mentioned, performance of government, and then performance of government in terms of delivery of public services, social services. How much are they giving people? What's the perception of people? What are they feeling? Then the process of government. If those two things are, that's what you will stand out, which I'm expecting the civil liberty authority society to be checking on government. But there's nobody, everybody kept quiet now. Nobody's checking on anybody. So citizens, we don't have choice than to decide to probably form a voice, a platform. You know, I could imagine if all electorate in Nigeria have a platform of their own. Even, let's start from each of the local government. If the electorate in each of those local government form a platform, I can see it happening in Lagos because a lot of local governments have platform now, whereby they communicate with this, whether you are a political party or you are not politicians, or you are residents of that, so that they communicate regularly. I think for us to solve, if such thing cool, we have more of it, then people can take. Even when the political party are messing up and they're talking about what they are doing, you in-house, you are doing your own local meeting and agree, no, this man is not right, this is the person. Then at a point, they start negotiating with you before they get the power. But because a lot of us felt we don't need it, and you know, that required a lot of selfless service. Because you're not going to earn any money, nobody's going to distribute anything within you. Because nobody's, except if you allow such people to enter such thing, you have messed it up.
Okay. So, I mean, earlier when you were talking about governance itself, and you did say that, you know, it's a thin line between how easily the people can mistrust government. Because, again, if you've promised that you will do something and one way or the other
you betray.
You failed, or you're also wasting time, then people begin to think, oh, it wasn't even going to do it in the first place. Maybe that was an electoral campaign. And so how do we ensure, especially those in government, that there is effective communication and engagement with the electorate?
I think the electorate in Nigeria are the one behind. Look at what happened in the United States of America. Even if the man deceived them, as we are now missing and to see the result of whatever be the outcome of election. You know, the man went into the mind of the people, and the people were able to give him that support. And he saw some distrust in the system. He picked up the issue of the issue of several factors that are in the system that is causing the issue of immigration and all sorts. And he knows people have sentiments towards that, and he used that to drive people. But when I was looking at that election, I knew that is going to happen. But will the people now manage this man? You can see him. Within a month, he has messed up the whole system. He has done what we've never seen in the history of America. That's what he's done in the last 1 month. And to me, it's just for himself, not for the people. And that's practical political attitude of our politicians.
Okay. But as people now, what roles should we start playing? Because we also compromise at one time or the other. Anytime it is election, we are more interested in what we are going to get, not values that we are going to demand from the political class.
I love this program, this conversation thing that we're doing on LTV8. And that's to show that LTV8 is really up to the mandate that is set up. Because, you know, like I said, the cost of setting that local gathering is so high. But who will fill them? Because they don't have food to eat. There must be a way for us to start coordinating at every unit, every local government, every ward. The set of people, not leave the people, community leaders alone. Community leader will go and negotiate with some people somewhere and then sell our rights. Why can't the people at the local government themselves, people at each of the ward, decide to hold a meeting? And this is the direction we want to go. We need somebody that will be able to account to us until we take that step. Because that's what happened in America. Nobody will ever think this kind of a man we're going to win an election, but because people are behind them. Then our electoral system too, you know, that required a lot of cautioning. Because if you look at the system, the way it's been built, you will discover that a common man to come and even fight for an election will be so difficult.
Right. So again, you talked about the system itself. Is also one that is quite distrusting. And so if you're looking at issues around corruption, issues around scandals, issues around snake swallowing money today.
That's
monkeys.
That's government processes.
And monkeys, you know, keeping monies here and
That's
there.
government processes.
And then if you look at those issues as well as issues around credible leadership, how are these issues also able to either help fan the embers of mistrust by the public or help government, you know, close the gap
between the people and the government. If you look at the kind of government we have prior, you know, First Republic, when we have the action group, and you know those are political party with ideology. Right. Those are political party that tell us this is what they do, what they want to do, and they want you to assess them based on that. When late Alhaji Lateef Jakande was the governor of Lagos, we all believe in him. You could imagine when he was setting up secondary schools without windows. Without windows and all sorts. We believe in him. But some of us are product of that school today because we have a trusted leader. It's not giving people cosmetics, social services that will really show that you are doing well. It's the intent of your offer. Don't give me an offer that you have already bloated into billions of dollars and you've carted so much away. And then the offer is not, the services you are even offering us is not there. You know, you just do a cosmetic. We have seen a governor in a state that they said launch a poultry without chickens and all sorts. It's in this state. These are the kind of thing that are called distrust. So I think is, like I've said, is those two parameters. What is the government process like? If the government process like, if you want to give us contract, you are not transparent, you are not looking at competency. We sell our contract to someone, the top party get it. The person that doesn't even know the work is the one that get the job and give it to somebody that know. And then the whole thing continues to inflate. And then somebody is taking what, somebody is taking something. That is the process of government. And these are things that brings about corruption. That's, you know, snake eating money and all sorts. Those are the processes. In the times of those action group and also, things are separated. You do things according to what the people want. They are not working. Now, we can say practically the way the political system is, it's like an institution is being built, you know, on their own and leaving the public that are supposed to be the beneficiary of that institutions.
Okay. In our political space today, any party in power, any party in government is always not that tolerant of criticism and opposition. And ideally, that should be part of democracy to make us get the best of governance and the best of government. But reverse is the case here. When you criticize, oh, you're from the opposition, you're not fighting for the interest of Nigerians, even when we can clearly see that the government in power is doing contrary to what
people want.
Promised. So I really want to speak to the people. I really want you to speak to the people as to how they can take their rights and put this political class on their toes. Because without their votes, the politicians can never get to power.
I wish the election could be coming now, and you tell Nigerians don't go out to vote. You know, where nobody will come out to vote. You know, that's the only way we can start showing a person that you are not fit to be voted for. Because the issue of democracy, like I said, they will say is the government of people for the people and for people. So if the people that were calling the people decide to have that mindset that nobody goes out to vote. If nobody goes out to vote, there won't be result. There won't be anything.
Do you think Nigerians can actually do that in a system where, even at the moment, we still have empathy? Not many people still go out to vote.
Even the politicians will go out and vote on their own. That's just it.
And that is what they will count.
Every politician will go out. But I think it's high time we start doing is the radios and some of us that are in the social commentators and even the real community leaders, because we still have real community leaders, to start ensuring that, I know in some local governments, the councillors, when the party said this is what they want, the people in the community said this is not what they want. And they voted for the person they want to tell the signals. So I wish you can have that kind of revolutions in every local government, in every ward. Then it will send some meanings to people. Because the grassroots is the real place where politics is taking place. Right. And so far that place is captured, There's nothing at any other level that will change the result that will happen.
Right. I mean, let's quickly look at, I know that this has come up in various fora, and we've talked about the fact that part of what is also causing some kind of mistrust currently in Nigeria is the cost of governance, where a lot of Nigerians believe that at the moment, we all have thought that this administration was going to walk the talk, lead by example, and reduce the cost of governance, but that hasn't happened. And that has also brought some kind of mistrust or distrust on the part of the people for this government. If government is actually to lead by example, walk the talk, and stand by all of the things that you've promised, what are the best ways to go about it?
It's an interesting thing. Our own democracy is so expensive. Across the globe, democracy is so expensive. I don't think a poor man can be part of this democracy. Because, and that's the reason why when anybody comes to government, if you call a common councillor in each of the ward, how much did you spend to win your election? You'll be wondering, do you need to spend so much at that level? Right. And they do. They did spend a lot of money. So, and how did they get that money? In short, our political systems have been turned to an investment fora, where people just come in to invest money. Some people are outside. They are not even being part of your player. They are there outside. They are in the private sectors, and they invest.
They are bankrolling.
They bankroll them, and then they expect something. And these are some of the things that is causing this inflated that we have in the system. First, Nigeria knew a new order in terms of democracy. Let accomplished people, professionals that have already, because when in the First Republic, the people that go for elections are people that are already accomplished.
That they've run businesses.
Exactly.
Right.
What we have now, people have not been tested in anything. People have just left university, and then they become councillor and they become House of Assembly. What do you expect? Because it's garbage in, garbage out. I think to solve the problems of corruption, problems of getting cost of governance, I will give it to the current president of Nigeria, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. When he was in government and local government fund was seized, I think there was an insight advice to him that all appointees as secretaries to the local government in 20 local government, 57 local government at that time, that they should make sure they are all professionals. If you go back to the time when it was the government as governor of Lagos State, and the time they set up 57 SCDA, all the 57 secretaries to local government, they were all professionals. You see lawyer, accountant, charter stockbroker, and all sorts among those secretaries. Why? It's because they know there's no fund to steal. They need people with idea, people that will be genuine in the way they will be creative to add values to the local government. I think that's the best approach that governance will. And that's what sometimes you see some state commissioners do. That's what they do. Most of our commissioners in Lagos State, for example, are always professionals. You hardly see Tipu and that politician. And that's why mistrust also comes in with the politicians, that we have done the work. Somebody else is in the work.
Right. So in that regard, I mean, if you have, so should it be a 50-50 or a 70-30, where the politicians will also say, we campaigned, we walked around, we cajoled, why are you then bringing technocrats or politicians?
And that's what led to a lot of professionals into politics. So they will have just informed them, Heli, you also be part of it.
So if you can't join them, you need to also join so that you can be part of the process. Okay, Ajibola,
okay, in our quest for a new order, like you rightly cited, what should be the role of the anti-graft agencies in restoring the trust of the people in the political class?
Now, I had a discussion with someone yesterday night. I said, what Nigeria is facing is that we don't have institutions. We don't have strong institutions. Because if you have strong institutions, we see all what has happened with the governor of Kogi State. We see what is happening all around. Would that happen in a serene environment? It's just because we don't have institutions, strong institutions. If all the institutions that we mentioned that you refer to are really, really strong. I could recall when the present National Security Advisor was pioneering the
EFCC.
EFCC. You see the way it goes to everybody's houses to put everything in order until the later stage that the things start getting tainted. You know, and that is what even put him on the international pedestal, because he did his work without looking at anybody, and the president gave him all the total support. The current man too is trying, but it's not, the institution is not strong. Our anti-corruption agencies institutions are not strong. If they are strong, what they mean by being strong is to be independent. And if they have to be dependent, they cannot be appointed by the man that is going to be investigated.
So, what then will be the role of the judiciary as a third arm of government here? Because again, sometimes many people have also pointed hands at the judiciary, saying that we cannot move forward if we do not have a judiciary that is totally independent. You've also mentioned that slightly here. But what should the role of the judiciary be when we talk about distrust?
Is the last hope of the common man,
Is
judiciary.
it still the last hope?
Is it still the last hope? That's a question I will ask myself too severally. With what has happened in our judiciary in the recent times, you know, give respect to our new Chief Justice of the Federation, you know, for what she decides to, because I've been opportune to go to her office. It's not the usual jamboree thing you see in that judiciary that you see there. She's trying to put some changes into the, maybe that will give us hope now. Because judiciaries have lost it at the point that everybody that even steals Nigerian money will be in court before you that want to take him to court. When you know you stole money, you still go to court before me to go and stop me from bringing you to court. And judiciary is the same, that we accept the case. So where are we? Where are we? I think there's a need, and with the current situations, I hope things will change in that judiciary, because it's supposed to be an independent body that will run itself.
Okay, Jibala. Okay. All right. Before we allow you go this morning, we've talked about government, and I know that, yes, you've also talked about the electorate, but you've also mentioned civil society groups. But indeed, if we're to move away from where we are at the moment, where should the meeting points be between government and the people?
That's a big one. I read in the newspaper this morning, a member of the Senate that is the chairman or is in charge of ethics of finance. He has a corruption case in the United States of America.
Right.
How do you match it? Is it the electorate that really vote him? Do they know him? I think it's high time the electorate start checking on background of people that were voting to power. And like I said, the institution must also get it right, because we have had experience in Lagos that the electoral body were the one that disqualified candidates that had submitted by party. But it hardly happened again. It hardly happened again. Whereby the background of anybody that want to put himself out for us to vote for must have been checked.
Right.
And if these criteria are not well stated, if these things are not done, people will just be bringing money bags and then take over our vote. So it's the electorate that must start working on this.
Right.
Know your people, just like the bank we said, is it know your customer, KYC. I think it's high times know your client. So it's high times the citizens, the electorate start understanding who is this man, not just because he brings money. But that's the major problem we have now.
Yeah,
everybody's hungry, people need money. When somebody needs money, they forget about his background.
Right. So it's going to be really a tough one, like you've said, because at the moment Nigerians are hungry. And so for them, it will still be more about the money. But perhaps when we also start letting them know that from the community level, everyone has a role to play, perhaps things will be better. And then there will be a better, a shift mindset in what we really want to do as a people. But I have to leave this conversation here this morning. Thank you so much, Dr. Abdurrauf Ayodeji, for finding time to be here with us on the program today.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, that's the much we take on the conversation on this side of the table this morning. Of course, it will take a whole while for Nigerians to get to that level that we really want us to get to. But indeed, it's been established here. Nigeria needs a new order. And to get that new order, you and I must be responsible as citizens of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. We'll take a quick break. When the conversation returns, it will be the turn of Joy. Joy has sauntered into the studio. Of course, I'm sure she would also tell you about the hardship she faced on the roads this morning due to that traffic. Joy Peleo. Would you want to move to Lagos? Don't worry, Joy. I'm sure when you come back, you tell our viewers your experience on that road this morning. We'll take a break and we'll be back.
The views expressed on this program do not represent that of the producer, management of Lagos Television, or the Lagos State Government. They remain the perspectives of those expressing them. Thank you for staying with Lagos Television.